Goyach. So where are we up to? We're up to Gimel, no? Gimel, no,
Yes.
did we do? Yeah. Okay, halacha Gimel. We're klal aleph halacha Gimel. Kol zafilim rak b'mikra siper gnus chaverei. This is all true if it just b'mikra, it happened. Yeah, yeah. You know, it came out. You spoke bad about someone. Of it, im chas v'sham bugla b'ovin zebit mitos. Right? He had given us the basic halacha of Leiselech Rachel Ba'amecha. It's a lav, right? And he's saying, and even that, even if it's like a one-time thing, it happened. But if you're Hurga B'avainta B'tmidus, if you're constantly speaking Lashon Hara, you've accustomed yourself. Like those who sit around and they schmooze and they talk. I said plenty when they're talking about other people. This is what this guy did, this is what that guy does, this is the way this guy behaves. This is what I heard about him. And what they're recounting is derogatory, it's bad things. So they get a special status. And they're called the Lashon Horah. I think we did learn this, but
Yes.
always good. Okay, Vacham Habi Gadol, and their punishment is much greater. Because what they're doing, besides the actual Avera, is they're expressing that they're just without any carefree. They are transgressing Teres Hashem. That they're totally ignoring the Isser. The Nasa said some kehefker, as we discussed at the end of the Psicha, Kabbalah, Yachas Hashem, Kosif Shechalokas, Lashon Regres Gedolos. Omer Chazal, Shloisha Averis Nefreim and Odom Bailam Hazeh. Chazal tells there are three Averis that a person is paid, punished in this world. And he loses his Chet Olam Haba. So, yeah, we saw this and we said that that's the Lashon of the Tosefta. In the Gemara, it's a little different. It just says the Lashon Hara is equal to those three Averis. But it does say this. Chazal brought proof of this from the Psukim. But the Rishonim explained to us that this statement, very intense, very powerful statement, it's about Balei Lashon Hara. And they don't take steps to stay away from the Savera. On them, Chazal said, as far as they're concerned, since they've spoken so many times, it became heter to them, and they speak it freely. Okay. In Chiluk, Halacha Hey. B'Isa Sipra, there's no difference. Now this happens many times. Whether you spoke the Lashon Hara on your own initiative, or sometimes the gang pressures you to tell them what happened. They know something happened and they put pressure on you. Makes no difference. It's still awesome. I would assume there is, in Shamayim, it's factored in perhaps peer pressure and the difficulty of, standing up against them. But the Chaim is just saying, don't think it's mutter if you were pressured into saying it. It's still awesome. Let's see, the same thing on the bottom here. It is a proof from Chol and Doya got by me there that Chol pressure Doeg. Okay. I feel of a rabbi, and even if it's your Rebbe or your father, which happens sometimes, a Rebbe has to be careful not to pressure a Talmud to tell him something unless it really is going to be kosher to say. You really have to think twice. Why am I asking will be a Torah. If I know about it, father many times will ask, what happened in school? You got to be careful, what you say. The teacher, it's not so simple. You may not be objective. You have to be careful what you're saying. The boys, even though you have a mitzvah, you're obligated to respect them and to hold them in awe and fear. That doesn't make it mutter to speak Lashon Hara. So this part of Moira is you're not allowed to contradict what they say, but that doesn't mean that if they pressure me or they ask me, and the response will be Lashon Hara, then I'm allowed to say it. If they ask, request, that you tell them, something about an individual, and he knows that if he says over, if he responds to them, he's going to have to include Lashon Hara or Lavak Lashon Hara, which we'll learn later in the Sefer, what qualifies as Avak Lashon Hara. Also, you're not allowed to listen to them. Right? Ani vehu chayiv b'kvoide. What's the saying? I and they are also chayiv in the covenant of Hashem, and therefore, if the Torah says you're not allowed to do it, that overrides. Vo. Ilum uraya shemu yargalat from Ramita Hazois. Shaloi l'saper loyim b'gnusha Yisrael kadom b'diburim ha'asurim. Even if you see that if I train myself not to speak Lashon, never speak Lashon Hara, never speak bad about another Jew, or any other type of Diburim Asurim, Yisuva Hefset Gadol Binyan Parnasasa. Chavetz Chaim says something very strong here. He says that I know I'm going to lose my Parnasa. He gives an example. I work for a boss who's not Nizar in Lashon Hara. And we know people who don't keep Torah, don't keep Torah mitzvahs, out there, there's a gossip column in the newspapers. Like it's part of a regular life. It's fine. Gossip columns are full of Lashon Hara. What else is in our gossip column? So these type of people don't have Reach HaTorah, and you happen to work for them. They're very parts in this Avan Chaver. It's part of their lifestyle. To the extent that if they see somebody who doesn't do that, doesn't speak like them, to look him at, he uses the word shaitei pesi, we'll call it a nerd. They'll look down at you. You're not with it. And you can lose your job because of that. And you won't have a parnasa. Also. He says it's also kechol shalavin. As the Jew says the Chavetz Chaim, for every lav. You're obligated to give everything you own, and not transgress a lav. He quotes the Yeridea, Sim Kuf Nun Zayin, Tzef Aleph, Bahago, Ayin Sham. Right? That's, in other words, we're accustomed saying, you're supposed to do for a mitzvah, an extra third, Hiddur mitzvah. That's as far as fulfilling a mitzvah, how much you have to spend. But in order not to transgress an Avera, says that it's paskin in Yeridea, that you have to be willing to give up everything you have. And on the bottom, in the Berman Chayim, in the letter Yud, he says, the Pshita, the Zalav Shekel Batzmusay, Oid Harvey Lav invest in Acherim. He says that it's a given that this love that incorporates so many other love in Nessen, the Focha, they ain't Garu Mishal Lav in Acherim. It's certainly no less than any other love. The Pasuk, the field Isa Rabana. So Gamkin didn't call Shaloi. That even if it's an Isa Rabban, you have to give up what you own. All right, that's it's a scary thing. Give up everything you own, so you shouldn't be over on a lot. You have to give up your life. So therefore, if you're going to lose your parnasa, all right, you have to look for another parnasa. But if by keeping Torah and mitzvahs and not speaking Lashon Hara, they're going to look at you strange and they're going to say this guy is not part of the gang, and you lose your job. You got to be willing to lose your job. All right, Hashem shouldn't test us. Let's do the Shmiras haLashon now. What? We're up to Perek Vav. More of the above, which is he's describing the tremendous punishment there is for Balei Lashon Hara. And in Perek Hey, he discussed Tzaras, the nega of Tzaras. He said, don't be surprised. You might say, like, "Oh, okay, I just said something." You know, what's all this punishment? What's this whole big halabu? Is that the words? Halabu, that the Torah is making out of a few words. So he says, don't be surprised. He'll say, look, funny people aren't speaking Lashon Hara and they don't get no nega. There's a response, even though, like, it's not a real question, right? We don't know the ways of Hashem, right? But in any case, he says in the Medrash Chazal, Shamal Apostle and Mishlei Shemer, people of Shoinai, someone who guards his mouth, Shemer Mitzoras Nafshe, protects himself from Tzoras. Shemer there, the Medrash says Shemer Mitzoras Nafshe. Mitzoras Nafshe, Chazal Darshan from Tzoras Nafshe. Uberi and Risi Mitzose B'Sefer Nachal Keduvim.
But the person could say, look, so-and-so just ate at McDonald's. I didn't see a bolt of lightning come and hit him.
Right. It was Machal Shabbos and he didn't die.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying that's why it's not really a question from Maminim. But if someone would want to give you a hard time, he says, the Medrash Chazal on Mishlei explains it. And they darshan Shomer Mitzoras Nafshe, Shomer Mitzoras Nafshe. What does that mean? Part of the explanation that he's going to say now, he says, I saw in the Sefer Nachal Kedumim, we know that all punishments that Hashem does, Hashem doesn't, he's not vindictive, he's not out to get you. It's all for your benefit, so that you should be cleansed. The suffering cleans you from your vessel, and at times it's a tap on the shoulder to awaken you to tshuva. There's a purpose behind it. Therefore, the times when there was a base mitayr, and there was a koyin that could be mitayr us, so then if a person transgressed Lashon Hara, Kadosh Baruch Hu maybe Allah Einushana koyin, Kadosh Baruch Hu would punish him with tzaras. But Gamza, I said, even then, he didn't get zapped on his body initially. Rakal Kuris Basic. First, it starts on the walls of your house. And you had to come. A little embarrassing, right? Because you had to go to Koyin and tell him, listen, this Taras on my house. And everyone knows why it's there, you know? But the Koyin would say, Tivik Kivushim. So the Kohen would give him a shmuz. Etc. You should know. Tzaras comes because of Lashon Hara. So that the person should try and stop sinning. But if the person doesn't take it to heart, and therefore the Tzaras, I guess, doesn't go away, or goes away, but then you will get the next level tzaras. And he quotes the words of the Rambam. We shouldn't think that sometimes you get your walls turn green or something from mildew or something. Rambam says tzaras abatim is not min hogeshalom. It's a sign, a wonder in Klal Yisrael. As a warning, it was like a warning sign. for Lashon Horah, Shamisap Lashon Horah, Mishtanis Karis Beisai. Im Chazer Boy Yitar Abayis. If he does tshuva, says the Rambam, then his house is cleansed, it's removed. B'mama Berisha, if you stay, you don't do tshuva. Achahut Tatzabayis, to the extent the house was destroyed. Because that's what ultimately, if it doesn't go away, they have to destroy the house. Mishtana Kleo Or Shabbat, then his leather kalim in the house also gets a wrath. On them, that he sat on and he slept on them. Etc. Then okay. Imam Berisha says the Ram, but if he doesn't do tshuva, they have to burn them. Then he himself becomes a mitzvah. He had moved on some levadai, and then he has to be alone, and it's a real public thing. Actually, until he will not continue speaking the Sikhas of Rishayim, which is Leit Thomas and Lashon Horah, V'chulu Ayin Sham.
So when Miriam got Saras,
Yeah.
It already had gone through her house.
No,
everything was.
No, it went straight to her. I guess because by her it was that the purpose was fulfilled straight that way.
Uh-huh.
They didn't even have, maybe it only started that type of stuff when they came to Eretz Yisrael. I don't know if they had Taras in the Midbar on their tents and stuff. But Voyatel's though Nizar Oynish was tremendous benefit from this punishment. Kiburai says go to on when he sees his tremendous punishment and his disgrace. He needs to be alone outside of the machana. He can't even come into machana Yisrael. When we did Thomas Tzar l'Rabbi, and he shares his tzar with people, in order that they should daven for him. As the Gemara says, but Tomei Yikra. So the Gemara that learns from there that he has to publicize that he's the mitzvah, so people should daven for him. That would really humble him. Right? There's a limit how much a person could be arrogant and say, I'm still going to speak Lashon Horah. Right? His house is down, his kalim were burnt. And now everyone's looking at him, pointing at him like he's in the zoo. So he's makabel himself to be careful in the future. And to ask forgiveness from those he spoke about. Then with out of his chesed, sends his marfuah. And the Kohen would go out to see him near Pahanegra if the nega was healed, removed. It says in Vayikra, near Pa, the Gomer. And then the Kohen would do the whole process that was necessary to be matar the mitzvah. Binyan hazov agiluach. Maybe all of us korbanos, so then he would bring the korbanos. So now when he will return to his house, when he'll be aware of the tremendous chesed Hashem that he healed him from the tzaras. So he certainly did all of what he accepted upon himself when he was sitting alone. He's totally purified. And from the sin. The past, what he did in the past, so all of that punishment and disgrace brings him kapara. And for the future, he was careful from now on with all his abilities. Okay, we'll continue this Mezras Hashem tomorrow. Okay, but like he's going to say, this was all when we had a kohen, and we could do that process. Okay.